All right, here we are. We are here at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, just in line with the Jags and the Broncos. And the NFL is pissing me off beyond belief now that you have to why do we have to have every streaming service imaginable now to watch the football? It's
They're
so
Like,
not
annoying.
making it easy.
it's like a hangover game, right? Like the NFL's hungover today. Like
They-
they don't want to wake up and get to work today. It's like here, just give them Denver Jags in London 9:30. Like talk about a hangover. Like geez, like that's tough. That's tough to get through in the morning. I don't know
yeah,
if I recommend that for anybody coming off a tough one last night.
no, no. Fuck that game. I don't even want to talk about it. All right. Good one we were talking about though. Let's chat about Vikings Cardinals.
Hmm.
That's a weird one. And why is everyone on the Cardinals?
That's what I said coming on like that it just seems funny to me that you're getting most of the bets and a lot of the money percentage coming in on the Cardinals. I think it's both sharp and public play coming in on the Cardinals. I saw that line as high as 5.5 earlier in the week. Looks like it's like I think it's 3.5 across most places now. But like I told you guys, this is prime time Kirk Cousins, right? 1 o'clock at home, non-divisional game. Like this is where he feasts. No,
Yeah, no. If that drops to 3, I'm not even blinking at it, and I'm taking the
I don't know if
Vikings.
it does.
I think it's more of a fade on the Vikings. I mean, you look at the last couple games for the Vikings. I'm looking at it now. I mean, it's Skylar Thompson, them beating the Dolphins, and Skylar Thompson in Miami, a game that they probably shouldn't have covered. Beating the Bears by 7, beating the Saints by 3. I think it's more of a fade on them and just buying Arizona with the new offense, getting DeAndre Hopkins back. I mean, you're getting 3.5. I would lean that way for sure.
So you think Arizona now with D Hop back is going to make like a little surge and compete for that division?
I mean, it's tough. Like before the last 6 weeks when he got hurt last year, they were rolling, scoring 30 a week. Then he gets hurt, they suck. He's not here the first 6 weeks this year, they suck. Last week they score a bunch of points. I mean, they had 2 pick sixes or whatever, but their offense looked better, so I would lean that way.
That's fair. That's fair. I think whatever team you think is going to, if you think the Vikings are going to make a strong push, finish well this season, the Vikings have to win this game. If you think Arizona is going to transition into competing for that division, they have to win this game. So they're both kind of must wins for the NFL playoff picture for both teams. No?
No, I kind of agree. I think there's enough. I mean, as a benefactor of that DeAndre Hopkins return, at least in some respects, I think there's enough that Sean talking about there with that Arizona offense. For me, like it's not a week to get cute. So I'm not going to try to, fade that Arizona trend, that love that's coming in just to get cute this week, especially for Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. I don't know. We could try to find value somewhere else, but it's probably a pass for me at the end of the day.
Yeah, it should be a pass for everybody. I think that's a tough number to gauge that game off of. That's a tough game for both teams. All right, another one that this is like jumping out to me. The Lions given 3.5 at home. Strange, right?
This is a game I feel like I would normally be all over. I just don't have the stomach for it anymore after last week. Detroit lost the game last week. I feel like they could have won outright, and they didn't even end up covering 7. I just don't have the stomach for that team. They look like they're falling apart. I mean, Jared Goff looks like Jared Goff again. It's just I mean, they do get DeAndre Swift back, so they should be able to get some of that running game back because that was pretty pedestrian the last couple of weeks, but I just don't have the stomach for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's so fair. And I think the rah-rah stuff's starting to wear off. If you're not winning games, the rah-rah stuff doesn't work. We've talked about this a million times. But that line's strange.
Mm-hmm.
That line, I feel like that's low for the Dolphins. It definitely looks like trap spotty for the Dolphins.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna muster up the stomach for this one. Just I think this is like also a result of like when we look elsewhere on the board, there's not a whole ton that like checks some of at least my boxes. Like this one, I like the money that Detroit's collecting. I think there's some big money coming on Detroit thinking maybe the same thing, month, and that's like kind of leading you to believe that that line's a little fishy, hanging around the 3.5. I think there's been some juice back and forth on that in the last couple of days. It's been hard to find a 4. Looking across the board now, maybe you could find one at FanDuel. It looks like at least in Jersey. I don't know about the PA side, but I like the 3.5 in the lines. I think like Sean, all the more reason to maybe buy low on the Lions here at home, catching the hook. So, and I'm happy. I like which way the money's flowing. At least the big money's flowing on this one. So I'm willing to hold my nose and take Detroit on this one again, just because when I look at the rest of the board, there's not a whole lot to love here. I don't think I don't know if there's like any picks I'm going to actually fall in love with over the past night or up till the afternoon kickoff, but this is one of them. I'll ride with Detroit.
I think I'm going to ride with you, Rob. And we talked about this during the week. Like last week was such a general public week. Vegas got smoked on all the big ones. I'm going to bring up another. Why is Tennessee only laying 1?
Malik Willis.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Does
hear
he
you.
win today?
Why?
Does he win that football game?
Houston's a feisty team, man. They're getting a good bit of money there on that market. I don't think because I still think you have a public side for Tennessee there. I don't think it's necessarily like a lot, public, fading Malik Willis in Tennessee. I think they're still riding them. I think you're seeing sharp money, expecting that to be a close game in Houston. That's how I read that line. Not that I'm jumping on that one. It actually kind of sets up similarly to the Lions game, just in terms of the betting, which way the money's flowing. You're not getting as many points there with Houston, which is again surprising. But that's Sean's boy, Davis Mills.
That is my boy.
That's a hell of a TV match. That might not be a bad game to watch. I mean, there's some other good ones. Actually, yeah, there's a couple other good ones in that late slot. I think that a couple of them we should touch on, but that might be a half decent game actually.
I think that's going to be a good football game. Ugly, but good football game.
Yeah.
It'll be similar to the Ravens-Bucks. And what we saw talking about all those unders, some pass interferences late to force some touchdowns now. So I think the refs are going to start calling games a little more tight to keep the scoring coming in. All right. There's another tough one here. Are the Jets going to beat the Patriots?
This is one of my only plays today. I'm on the Patriots. I got 3 minus 105 at DraftKings. I don't know what the current line is. I think it's 2.5. Losing Breece Hall, I think, matters a ton. Just like the explosiveness. The explosiveness that he was adding to that team, just 60-yard runs, 50-yard runs, this long touchdowns. Zach Wilson hasn't really done much all this entire year. Their defense has kind of carried them, and then the big splash plays from Breece Hall. I mean, they lost another guard last week. They're already down a couple tackles. Now you lose Breece Hall. You become that one-dimensional against Bill Belichick, and I'm just going to take Bill Belichick after he got his ass kicked by Justin Fields and the Bears last week on prime time.
Yeah. I think Mac Jones shows out today, too.
He needs to. He needs it in the worst way.
I think Mac Jones shows out today. If they lose today, I think you're going to see the end of the Mac Jones era in New England. Because they're going flip-flopping back and forth so much now. It's like...
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they kept doing that.
Yeah, at some point you got to stick with a guy and have some continuity.
Yeah.
Like you got to put faith into somebody. Okay. I feel this is a big teaser week.
But do you guys have any opinion on that game? I'm curious to see what you guys think about that.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sean, like I was coming into chatting it up with you guys. Like I was leaning Jets in that game just on a gut check. But now I'm looking at the spreads here and just seeing a good bit of money coming in on New England. Enough of that, to me, what looks like enough big money to I'm not looking to go against you there, right? Like I'll ride you with the Jets in that case. Like I don't feel strongly either way that if you're telling me it's an official play for you, then from what I'm seeing on the market, yeah, I'd ride with you on New England there. I agree that it's Daniel Jones' game, to step up. We were talking about this earlier in the week. Mac Jones, sorry, I get my Jones mixed up. Not to get ahead. Another big game coming up.
Getting Jones and
the Joneses. But yeah, no, I get Mac Jones needs to have a big game. The way they got knocked around against Chicago last week, I think that's on the minds of New England Belichick. I expect them, they can come back big in this divisional game. So like I said, I'm not leaning too strongly either way. So with you back in New England, I'd ride with them too.
I'm with you on the Pats. I think that's probably my most confident official play of the week. Division game. And the Jets keep winning football games handedly, but now Zach Wilson has to win a football game. So we're going to find out, and you're arguably going up against the best defensive coach ever. We're going to find out today if that kid's for real or if Zach Wilson's just been getting bailed out by Breece Hall. So
yeah, I mean, he's been throwing for like 100 yards a game. I mean, I
Just
think
not
he
gonna win
sees
it today.
ghosts today. Yeah, like it's going to be tough, I think.
Zach Wilson interception prop.
Yeah, I'm
that
not
might
mad
be
at it.
on
I
the
haven't
card.
checked it, but I'm not mad at it.
All right. These are probably the two best games of the day. And it's crazy I'm about to say this. I think the most important football game today is Giants Seattle.
Yeah. Great.
That's a big football game has major playoff implications. If Seattle wins that game, are they like kind of in the driver's seat to win that division now?
I mean, I believe they're sitting alone in first in their division right now, right?
I know.
First place, yeah. And we'll see how those two teams look in the other spot, right, at 4:30. You got Rams and Niners going up against each other. But, God, I mean, what can you say? Like, again, we mentioned it on the week, Sean. What about Geno Smith? Like, we're talking about MVPs and quarterbacks, right? You got your big three right now with Mahomes, Allen, Hurts, the way that they're playing. But, lo and behold, like, if you look at the numbers, Geno Smith's just up there, if not, like, one or two with, some of the, a couple of those guys with the way he's been slinging it this year. So, like, what's going on with him? What do you think, like, what's making it work? I know the DK absence will be big for them going into this week, but, what's going on in Seattle that's making them competitive?
I don't know, man. It seems like they figured something out. I mean, I'm not the X's and O's guys that's going to break it down, but Geno's throwing the ball very well. I don't know when he became a good quarterback, but just the eye test, they're throwing the ball well. They can run the ball. They seem more balanced than the Giants. And this Giants team, man, like, you respect what they're building and all, but you just can't live the way that they're living. Every time it's a fourth quarter comeback and desperation. And like, at some point there's going to be a letdown. And now you fly across the country to Seattle. I mean, who has a real home field advantage. That's a much more balanced team than you. I would lean to Seattle.
I think I'm making Seattle official. Like I'm taking it. I took it at the 3 this morning, so I'm going to throw it out there because I don't know how many threes are left. It looks like 3.5 at least DraftKings now. You can still catch 3 at FanDuel, some other spots too. 365. So I would take lay the 3 before it moves up. I think you'll see that maybe move up across the board to 3.5 before kickoff. With sharp money coming in on Seattle. I like Seattle. I like them to get it done even without DK. You meant, the run game you mentioned, Sean. I think Kenneth Walker's a solid player.
Mm-hmm.
He's running well, and if they can mix it up with him, Lockett's shown up in some spots. You're going to need guys like him to take a step up now with DK out. As much as that does hurt Seattle, I think this is a different game with him in there. I still think they have enough to get it done at home. On the Giants too, like you said, like they can't keep living like that. I'm still waiting to see that shoe fall.
Does this week not have so many like really tough matchups, and like all the teams that are in must-win situations are playing a team that's trying to like solidify themselves and like take the lead in the division? It's like a lot of dogfight games here.
Yeah,
I have a feeling it's going to be a dog day afternoon. I think it's like big time tease dogs to key numbers.
Real quick though, sorry to cut you off. DK Metcalf, it looks like will play today.
Is he going?
Ooh,
Yeah,
wow.
so I'm going to make that official with you. I'm going to ride with you as well with the -3.
And that could be the if that's coming out now, that could be the reason why we're seeing that climb above the key number. So all the more reason to hop on it now.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, do the Niners lose another one? Or do the Rams beat the Niners for the first time like ever?
Yeah, I mean, they beat them in the playoff last year, and that was one of, I think, out of the last 7 maybe that they beat them. Just the way this line is set up, it looks like it's a setup for the Rams. Like they want you to take the Niners. So I'm going to stay away from the game completely. They're both kind of underwhelming to me. The Niners obviously have the huge advantage in the trenches where the Rams have been so bad this year, but I'm going to pass altogether.
I'm going to have to let that one marinate for a couple hours before I'm going to have to see how the day unfolds. It's so hard for me not to take the Niners to lose 3 in a row against a team they always beat. But then again, on that other side of that coin, it's so hard for me not to take the Rams when they're begging you to take the Niners. and Rams have to win this football game.
And they are taking the Niners, Mike. Like people, like there's heavy liability coming into that game on the Niners side. I think the Rams set up a great, like of all the contrarian plays that we went through, about 30% of the tickets, 13% of the handle right now on the Rams. I don't know. I think there's a lot of liability on San Fran. And to me, my question is like, I think Sean McVay is a pretty good coach. We hear enough about how many coaches he's put in the ranks throughout the NFL. Like, for how long is somebody going to have his number, right? Which it's a good matchup. I enjoy every time he's put. We always go back and forth every time they play, but for just seeing the amount of action coming in on San Fran makes me want to bet the Rams even more. And like you said, a spot that they need too.
Do the Eagles cover 10.5?
I don't know what the Steelers are, man. I don't think so. It's tough because Kenny Pickett's turned the ball over so much, and the Eagles have also turned the ball over so much defensively.
Yeah.
But like if they don't turn the ball over, I think the Steelers cover that.
I
agree. I love teasing the Steelers up to 17.5.
Yeah, I like that as well.
Like,
all right? So you mentioned a couple times about teaser spots. Who would you throw in as your favorite teams? You mentioned dogs, Mike. Like, who else do you like teasing up? Would you tease the Giants up in Seattle?
I don't know. That's the one I don't like. I would tease the Steelers, the Lions, the Cardinals. I would tease the Texans up.
I kind of like Carolina.
I
mean, I'm not mad at that either.
Atlanta's laying 4. I think this is the first time they're favored all year.
That line's been wonky, Sean. Like I like Atlanta a lot. I've ridden on Atlanta hard on there, a little against the spread streak this year, but that opened up at 6. It's down to 3.5 at a lot of spots. I think maybe you mentioned 4. It's maybe at a couple of shops too. Like, I don't know, that weird Carolina love coming off of what the changes that they're going through, the decision to go with PJ Walker there. To me, you're looking at an even spread count, right? 50-50 on each side, but with 65% of the money coming in Atlanta, to me, it's telling me that big money's coming in Atlanta, so I'm okay with riding them, but I think it's more of a lean. I don't know. I don't think it's official there. But Atlanta, what's hard for me is because, like, I just want to go back to the well with those Falcons because it's, again, like, we know the kind of game that they're going to play, right? Like we saw it last week. They can't get behind, right? This is a team they could run where they could run the ball and move on a team. They will be in the game. They've been covering games, but if they get behind, they cannot play from behind. They can't throw the ball, especially like Cincinnati was throwing the ball last week. So I don't know. That's maybe probably why I'll stay off it, just because of the weirdness of it.
Yeah, I just don't think you can lay 4 with a team that can't defend the pass, can't pass the ball themselves. Like, their defense is awful. I wouldn't be able to lay any type of points with them. I think they function their best as an underdog.
Yeah, I don't like them laying points against anybody.
Yeah.
Jacksonville.
So I lean Panthers, but I'm ready to, like, I'm not ready to back the Panthers and it's all based off of last week's performance. That's just like that was like an enigma. Like, we won't see that again.
Yeah.
So I that's a stay away from me. Colts, Washington. I don't really care. Do you guys care?
Nothing.
I want before we got to the end of it, I wanted to know what you guys thought about tonight, because I know there's a lot of love coming in on an even account for Green Bay with 72% of the handle. I think a lot of folks, I think Sharps and Joes are both expecting Green Bay to bounce back and, coming off 3 hard losses. But in Buffalo, catching the 10.5, what do you guys think? What are your gut checks on that one?
My gut tells me if I'm getting 10 points and I have Aaron Rodgers, like, I'm taking the 10. But I'm also, it's not going to be a play. Yeah, 10.5. I mean, you're giving one of the best quarterbacks in the league 10 points. You tell me I can't backdoor that? I would have a hard time laying 10 with the Bills.
I have a hard time laying 10 with the Bills. I feel like that number's so high just because of what we've seen the Packers do.
Yeah, they've been awful.
They aren't playing well at all. If it wasn't Josh Allen, I'd be like, give me the 10 and I'm going to go to bed and wake up and not even worry about it. But it's Josh Allen off a bye. I don't know. It's a weird. Who do the Bills have next week, actually?
next week.
because they're coming off a bye, huge win in Kansas City.
They're in
So-
New York next week against the Jets.
Division.
Yeah, I don't know if the Jets are you're looking ahead to the Jets, but maybe you are. I don't
I don't
know.
know. I don't know how much of a look. Like, I don't know how much I believe in look ahead at the NFL level. You know.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's weird. I don't have any say. I don't like it if everybody's back taking the 10.5 though.
I wouldn't. No, it's not everybody. Like I said, it's a 50-50 split on the ticket count. But 72% of that money is of the money coming in on pack. Big money's coming in on Packers. Sharp money.
Okay.
So that's why I'll lock in Packers now 10.5 before it's gone, because I feel like you'd lose that hook before you get it up to 11.
Yeah, you're gonna lose the hook, and once the day starts to progress, people start waking up. People are gonna start betting the Bills, so that market's gonna change drastically. Yeah. Any other things you guys wanted to bring up?
Have you guys taken a look at the total market? Anything interest you there, or otherwise anything fancy that you guys have your eyes on? I know after the way we've been rolling the last few weeks, I feel like straights and totals is sticking to that as well as work. That's what we're really talking about, right? So that's what we're going to be doing. So I'm cool with that, but I didn't know if you guys had anything you saw on the total market either.
I think there's going to be some overs today. I like Lions Dolphins to get over there. I think that's just an absolute shootout.
A lot of money coming in on that over. A lot of money.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to bet it because that's a really high number for them.
Can Pittsburgh slop up this Bears game with a, let's see, look at a 43-point total, 42.5, depending on where you look. Seems some strong money coming in on that under too.
Yeah, I think that the Steelers are going to try and keep this thing slow on the ground, keep it ugly. That's a low number for an Eagles football team that could drop 24.25, though.
Yeah, a lot of action on that under. Yeah,
I do think it's important to note that they do play Lamar 2 times a week or 2 times a year, and Jalen Hurts is in that same realm with the ball, running the ball. Like, I do think they're going to have some type of game plan for Jalen Hurts. Like, it's not like they've never come across a guy that can run the ball.
That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a good point.
I would expect them to cover, but I'm not touching it.
Yeah, I would expect them to cover as well. I think the Eagles just come out of this one with a win, stay healthy. That's all it comes down to. Yeah, looking at some of these other games, boys, a lot of ugly ones. I don't really have much else to say. Dallas, Bears, I mean, a lot of huge spreads and then a lot of very tight ones. So it's tough.
Did we do the Raiders on here? That would be the last
No.
one I want to talk about.
Yeah,
or at least get Rob's opinion. I'm curious of what you think about it.
To me, I feel like it's a what do you call it? Fade the public spot.
Yeah,
it's weird, right? Like, to me, that line's hanging around 1.5. It's a weird New Orleans line to me. I think they're begging you to take Las Vegas. Vegas is begging you to take Vegas. So again, like, I'm not trying to get fancy this week. Like, we've had a couple volume weeks, some worked out, some don't. I'm trying to play it smart this week with a more or less ugly week. So I would lean New Orleans, right, and make the contrarian play there, but it's just a lean for that reason.
Gotcha.
Definitely, obviously, you're going up. Las Vegas is the better team here.
Right.
We're one of the better. What is it? What are they? 1-4, 2-5. What is? I forget their record.
Yeah, 2-4, 2-5, something like that.
Like one of the better teams with that record, right? Like, that you could have, but a lot of talent on that team. Dalton's getting the start, but again, like, all that's to say, like, that's why you have over 70% of the tickets coming in on Vegas. So it's weird for me. That's why I'm laying off it.
Saints are definitely another team I would consider teasing up.
Yeah, it's a good tee. Yeah, it is a good tee spot. Yeah,
I mean, you look at that number's not right.
No, it's not.
That number's not right. And after Vegas, what happened to them last week, I feel like they are putting these lines out and they're like, please, God, take these sides. There's a couple, they're begging you to take a couple teams here today.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely are.
The Jets are one of them. The Raiders are one of them. And the Titans, I mean, those 3 teams, they're begging you to take. And I think after last week, and the Rams, or the Niners. So, dude, I don't know. I think it's going to be a big dog day afternoon.
Yeah, it's going to be a shit show today.
I think today's going to be one of those weeks where, like, tomorrow we're all talking about, like, what the hell happened in the NFL?
Yeah.
Late couple more tickets, public tickets coming in on a game we didn't talk about, Chicago and Dallas. You mentioned dog day afternoon. If you want a spot that, I mean, this is coming from me, and I love taking points, but laying 10, I feel like I think the Dallas 10-point line is getting a lot of sharp love. I wouldn't be totally shocked to see that get back up to 10.5 before kickoff, but I think Dallas is actually a sharp play today. I don't know if listen, again, talked about not getting cute. I don't want to go laying 10 points with fucking Dallas this week. That's not where I want my rooting interest for my money, but for the sake of calling it out there, if anybody wants to lean on that game, I think it's definitely a sharp lean. Dallas covering that game.
Yeah, the Bears are looking like a cute doggy team.
And that line didn't come down much after a strong game. A strong game against New England, but it didn't come down a whole lot after that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, 10's still a ton of points for a team that's competent.
Yeah. And Dallas is without Zeke, but, honestly, I'm not sure it's not.
No, who cares?
Yeah,
that's improvement.
Yeah, with Pollard now taking down 3, that's probably you're probably better off on the net.
All right. Anything else we want to add to this? We'll have the official card out shortly.
I think we cut the off for a shitty week.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I think I'm seeing the board clear now after having this discussion.
Always.
Because all week I was like, dude, I don't know anything. Feeling down about myself. But it's like stick to your guns, and I feel like we're seeing the board clear. Also, Cardinals Vikings went back to 4.
See?
That's going to be flip-flopping for the next couple hours.
That's crazy to me. You're telling me that went to 4 and it's still sitting with 70% of the handle on Minnesota.
That's Vikings, dude.
That's ugly. Yeah.
Like I hate to say it, but we might have to just hold our nose and just make the play and call it official. I see it at 4 now sitting there. Fuck.
Yeah. That's the side I lean towards. Yeah. Well, everybody, we got some time to digest. Get on the Twitter. All the plays are gonna be out. I ain't getting retweeted by Mush Nation this week. Fuck that guy. Yeah, let's go Birds.
Go
Birds.
Go Birds.
Let's go Bears.
Let's go Phils.
Yeah.
Let's go Phils. How you doing?
Yeah, there we go.